welcome to the deep dive. So we got this really interesting list from a listener packed with about 50 advanced academic vocabulary words. You know, the kind that really level up your communication.
Exactly. The kind that can give you real analytical weight in professional settings.
Right. And our job today isn't just to list definitions. We want to cluster them, make them practical toolkits you can grab and, well, utilize right away.
Because just memorizing words doesn't stick, does it? It's about understanding the context, how they actually work.
Yeah, the nuance, like knowing when something is just thorough versus truly rigorous. Big difference.
Huge, especially in research or high-stakes reports. So we've grouped these words by what they do, how they help define, measure, analyze conflict, evaluate plans.
Makes sense. So, okay, let's dive in. First up, the language you need for solid analysis. Defining scope, measuring things, figuring out how certain we are.
Okay, so when you start any serious analysis, you need commitment, right? You could aim to be thorough, which, means covering everything, being detailed.
That sounds good. Complete and detailed.
It is good, but often, especially in academic work, you need more. You need rigorous analysis.
Ah, rigorous. That one feels stronger. The sources defined it as extremely thorough, meticulous, even strict. Is the key difference there about sticking rigidly to a method?
Exactly. Rigor implies that strict adherence, that quality control. Think about the example, the IELTS examiners. They follow a rigorous marking process.
Right. It has to be strict and exact, which brings us to precise.
Precisely. If the process isn't precise, the results aren't reliable. And when you've got complex data, you need to scrutinize it.
Well, scrutinize, meaning examine really carefully, inspect every little detail.
Through that rigorous, precise lens.
Okay. And when we scrutinize data, we hit that classic split, don't we? Qualitative versus quantitative. How do we explain that clearly for, someone juggling both?
Well, think description versus numbers. Qualitative is descriptive, it's subjective. It's the why behind things, from interviews, open-ended questions, rich stuff.
Got it. The feelings, the opinions.
Yeah. And quantitative is the numerical side. Measurable, statistical. It's what you use for trends, market analysis, things you can put a number on. You need both, often. Qualitative for depth, quantitative for scale, and, well, making a rational decision based on numbers.
That's a super helpful distinction. But okay, even aiming for rigor, sometimes you can't be perfectly precise, right? Like a preliminary report might only roughly estimate something.
Absolutely. Roughly, approximately, without full accuracy. Sometimes that's all you have early on. It's way better than being vague, though.
Oh, definitely. Vague, not clear, not specific. The sources basically said a vague conclusion just kills your argument's momentum.
Instantly. Undermines everything. So once you have that rigorous, precise data, whether it's qualitative or quantitative, the final step here is to utilize it effectively.
Utilize. Make it use it, apply it strategically.
Exactly. Don't just collect it, use it.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about analyzing a situation, but what about when things are, moving? Processes, conflict, recovery, action and reaction.
Right. The dynamics. We often start with cause and effect. If an action is meant to stir things up, cause a reaction, we say it's designed to provoke.
Provoke. Trigger something.
And often that provocation leads to a repercussion, which is specifically an unintended consequence. That's the key part.
Ah, okay. Unintended. Like the example they gave, economic sanctions might be intended to achieve one thing, but they can have serious repercussions for trade, something maybe unforeseen.
Exactly that. It shows how planned actions can ripple outwards unexpectedly. And when you have those negative effects or just disagreements, you need resolution.
Right. So trying to restore harmony, settle differences. That's to reconcile.
Yes. Finding common ground, settling the conflict, bringing things back together.
And sometimes resolution is just winning, I guess. The sources mention prevail, like hard work will
overcoming obstacles. And when a system or a person succeeds after a setback, bounces back strongly, we call them resilient.
Resilient. That's a popular one. It's not just bouncing back, is it? It's more about having that built-in adaptability.
That's a great way to put it, adaptability. Like a community being resilient after a disaster, they adapt, they rebuild, they keep going.
That strength, that ability to find solutions, leads nicely to remedy.
Yes, a remedy is basically a solution or a treatment for a problem. The example used was education as a remedy for poverty.
Framing education as an active solution.
Yeah.
Not just something nice to have, but a tool to fix a specific, deep problem.
Precisely. It connects abstract issues to tangible actions, whether it's pursuing education or helping small businesses prosper, finding that financial success. It's all about that forward movement.
Okay, so we've analyzed, we've seen things change and resolve. Now, what about actually doing things? Planning projects, considering the scale, the timeline, the roadblocks, the practical stuff.
Right in sticks. Very important vocabulary here. For timelines, you have the start and the follow-up. Initial work is preliminary.
Preliminary, done before the main thing, like a first survey.
Exactly. And then everything that follows is subsequent, coming after. You always hope the subsequent findings confirm that preliminary work.
Makes sense. And then scale. How big is this thing?
Yeah.
The sources gave us substantial.
Substantial means large in amount or importance, like a substantial investment. It feels solid, measurable.
Okay. But then there's tremendous. How's that different? It sounds bigger.
It often implies greater intensity or impact, maybe less purely quantitative. You could face substantial costs, but maybe there are tremendous opportunities if you succeed. Substantial is often about the size, tremendous about the impact or feeling.
Got it. That's a subtle but useful difference.
Yeah.
Okay, from scale to certainty or lack thereof. Plans often start out a bit shaky, right? Tentative.
Yeah, tentative means uncertain, not final, like a tentative agreement pending approval. And when things are tentative, it's easy to start guessing, to speculate.
Ah, yes. To form a theory without all the evidence, economists might speculate about inflation.
But in your formal analysis, you want to avoid pure speculation. You need to be rational. Base your decisions on reason, on logic, on the evidence you do have. Otherwise, you risk being, well, reckless.
Right. Stay grounded. And speaking of grounding, we have to talk about limitations, the barriers.
Absolutely critical. Sometimes resources are just scarce, simply not enough available, like clean water in some places.
A fundamental limitation.
And other times, the barrier is cost. If something is prohibitively expensive.
Prohibitively, meaning so expensive it actually stops you from doing it.
Exactly. It prohibits action. When costs are prohibitive or resources scarce, you might have to restrict access, limit the scope, focus only on what's essential. These words really capture those tough constraints.
All right, let's wrap up our clusters with the vocabulary of excellence, describing high quality, deep understanding, reaching the final goal.
The language of aspiration, you could say. So for high skill level, we have proficient. If you're skilled and competent, say, in using specific software, you're proficient.
Proficient. Good at doing something.
Right. But proficiency is about the person's skill. If we're talking about the complexity or advancement of the tools or methods they use, we'd say they are sophisticated.
Okay, so a proficient user operating sophisticated equipment. Makes sense?
And when that proficient person communicates complex ideas with real depth, we'd describe their explanation as profund.
Profund, showing great depth or insight, like a really insightful analysis of, say, cultural identity. It goes beyond the surface level.
Exactly. Deep thinking, deep understanding. And all this work, this proficiency, sophistication, profundity, it's usually deriving towards the ultimate goal.
Ultimate, the best or final aim. Like the ultimate goal of professional development might be leadership.
Or continuous improvement. Which brings us to how we get there. We need to constantly refine our approaches.
Refine. Improve by making small adjustments, often based on feedback, tweaking things.
Yes. And if that refinement works, if our plan or product is practical and capable of success in the long run, we say it's viable.
Viable. Able to work successfully.
Sustainable. Right. And the peak of success, that's when you surpass expectations. You don't just meet the goal, you exceed it.
Surpass. Go beyond. Nice. Hashtag outro. Wow, okay. So this deep dive really gave us not just words, but tools. Tools for clearer thinking, writing, speaking. We saw how even a simple substitute, like using since instead of because, can add that touch of sophistication.
It really does. And looking at the bigger picture, we've essentially mapped how we talk about abstract ideas like, market dynamics, and link them to tangible results, things you can actually see or measure.
Real and touchable results. And hopefully, by clustering these words by function, we've helped everyone retain these insights more easily. Utility really helps memory, doesn't it?
It does. We know language is the main way, the predominant way we communicate globally, but for that to work effectively, the communication needs to be reliable, it needs to be stable.
Okay, so connecting all this, what's the final thought for our listener to chew on?
Well, the sources brought up tolerance, that willingness to accept differences, which is obviously crucial in global workplaces today.
Very important.
But we also know that language, especially when used poorly or misleadingly, can undermine trust, weaken it slowly. So the question is, What role does having a shared, predominant, understood vocabulary, like the advanced words we've explored, play in actually fostering that cultural tolerance? Does better, clearer, more nuanced language help build bridges and keep communication stable globally, or can it sometimes create new barriers?
That's a fascinating question. How does the very language we use impact our ability to connect across differences?
Yeah.
Something definitely worth thinking about as you start to utilize this new toolkit.